At the very start of these videos I did say that I was going to make it into 2 parts. I've decided to make the videos into 3 parts. The last one will be starting the outboard, testing the outboard, and highlighting the silly little mistakes that I've made, and hopefully, because you will have seen the mistakes that I've made, you won't make them when you service your outboard. Right, so at the start of the video I actually said that I would learn something, and hopefully you would learn along with me too. One thing which I did notice, I've just fired up the outboard and it wasn't pumping water, and it wasn't pumping water straight away. So I immediately stopped it and knew that I'd made a mistake somewhere. One of the things that I didn't realise, I've taken off the lower leg and I've exposed the impeller. The impeller's fine, but one thing which I didn't realise was that this pump housing here has, if I can just get a screwdriver, has a very small slot just there. The impeller housing has a very small tag just there. Now that tag has to sit inside that slot, otherwise the impeller housing just revolves round, spins round, blocking the water uptake, and I think that's the reason why it wasn't pumping water. So we'll put it all back together and hopefully it will pump water now, and it will be lesson learned for next time I come to do it. So I'm having problems starting the outboard, and when it does start it stalls and it won't maintain any revs. Then when I come to restart it, it just won't start again. Now I've checked the spark plugs. The spark plugs are fine. We have a good spark. It's a nice strong spark. People have suggested that it's probably a fuel issue. So to make sure that the fuel is actually coming through from the external tank, through the fuel pipes into the fuel pump and then into the carburetor, what I've done is I've undone, it's very difficult for you to see, but there's a small drain screw, carburetor drain screw down at the bottom. I've undone that and fuel came pouring out of the bottom of the carburetor, which would indicate to me that fuel is getting through the fuel pump into the carburetor. This is the cloth I put underneath, or a piece of paper towel that I put underneath it. It is absolutely full of fuel. This is the small drain screw. Be very careful, it is exceptionally small, and there is a very small washer. I'm going to put that to one side. I'm not going to attempt to put it back in whilst it's down there, because I will drop it inside of the engine. I'm going to take off the carburetor to make sure that the jets are clean, so we will take it from there. Okay, we have the carburetor off again, so I will strip it down to make sure that nothing is blocked. This time I'm actually going to take out the jets as well. So first of all we need to take off the float bowl. You'll notice that I'm actually working on a cloth, and that is because, one, there's still fuel in here, and two, the parts are very, very small. That looks okay. So this float here is just held in place by this stainless steel pin. So I'm going to take the pin out, which I presume is taken out by undoing that screw. Yep. And then the float just comes out. Now there's something there. Oh, that's the pin that I want, so you don't want to lose that. Put that in this little tray. Now this little needle here, it looks quite delicate. There's no guns, there's nothing on there, so you certainly don't want to lose it though. We shall put the float there. Now these are the jets. We'll take out that little rubber bung. So using the appropriate size screwdrivers, flat bladed screwdrivers, I'll remove these two jets one at a time. I don't want to get them mixed up. Keeping everything in the tray so that you don't lose anything. And there we go, that just slips straight out. So there are 4 holes. There's 4 very fine holes here on each side. Then there's the central hole. Everything looks clean, everything looks clear. I can't see any debris in there whatsoever. However, I shall give it a clean. I have some very, very fine copper wire which I'll put through each of those holes and clean it up. Right, let's take this other jet out. Again, I'll keep it separate. I'll put it on this white towel so that they don't get mixed up. This little jet, again, that has little holes in. 2 on this side. Oh, actually there's more. There's 4 little holes, 4 sets of 2 holes I should say, along with a central hole which I have a feeling has some debris in it. Hopefully this is what the problem is, so we'll give that a good clean out as well. Now that one we shall just put there. So next I'm going to take out the idle mixture screw, which is this one here. I'm going to take it completely out just to make sure that everything is clean and there's no debris behind that. So this is the idle mixture screw, which looks okay to me. Now I'm going to take this plate off here. I'm not too sure what this plate is. So if I take that plate off, oh, there's some little rubber seals, which, okay, I'll take that out and put that to one side, and take that one out and put that to one side. Okay, I'm assuming that the idle mixture jet actually closes or opens up these holes here, allowing more fuel in or more air in, or so we'll give those a good blast with carb cleaner. I don't think there's anything else on here for me to remove. Okay, let's give it a clean, and then I'll start assembling it back together. Carb cleaner here, which I'm going to spray into all the holes. I wish I had some compressed air, then I'd be able to blast it all out, but I've not. So I'm just going to have to give it a shake, let it drain out. Doesn't taste very nice. Okay, give this a bit of a wipe. Put that back in with these two little screws back on. Make sure that they're tight, and then we shall get on with cleaning the jets, the needle jets. Okay, right, so as I said, I've got some very thin copper wire. I'd like to use the copper wire because these are brass, so I think they're going to be quite soft. Well, they will be quite soft because they're brass. You need good eyesight or a good pair of glasses, and clear each hole out, making sure not to scratch the holes or make them any bigger. That's why I use copper wire. Again, if I had some compressed air, I'd give them a good blast out with compressed air, but I haven't got any, so my breath is just going to have to do. Now, which way up did this go? And then this screws down on top of it. We shall tighten that one up. Not overly tight. Right, now this is the one which I think looked a little bit blocked to me. So if we take our copper wire again, very gently through these really small holes. They're quite difficult to see. Right, and through that hole there, and this is the part which I thought might be blocked. Is this part here? Nothing's come out, so perhaps it's not blocked. But everything is now clean. And hopefully what was stopping the operation of this outboard and this carburetor has been cleaned out the way. So that's that tight. Put back the mixture needle, which goes into this hole here. And I'm going to screw this right down, then back it off 3.5 turns. So that's half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. Okay, now we need to put back in the float, which I've remembered what this is called now. This little bit on this will be the shut off needle, and that'll be to shut off the fuel which is coming in. Need this pivot pin here, which will fit through there. Again, just hand tight and a little nip. making sure that the float is working. No problem with the float. Don't forget to put this little bung back on. It must be there for a reason. We shall put back in the drain plug into the float bowl. Making sure that the little washer is on. Nip that up. Everything is nice and clean in there. So we shall reassemble the float bowl on top and tighten up these 4 screws. Now the only thing which I've not checked is the fuel pump, and whilst it's off I'm going to check it. There's no reason why this shouldn't be working. So I'm going to take this cover off gently. I don't know what's under here. It is full of fuel. That doesn't look to be perished or anything. I'm going to put the fuel just into there. Okay. Now this diaphragm looks fine to me. That looks okay. Let me just lift up and see. Yeah, that looks okay. Put it back on. That doesn't look as though it's blocked or dirty. It looks clean. So that's that back on. And we'll put this top cover with the gasket back on. So everything is checked. I'm now going to reassemble the outboard, put the carburetor back on, and we shall try and fire the outboard up again, and hopefully it should start and it should keep running. I didn't really find any faults though. That's the worrying part. So I didn't really think it was dirty enough to stop the outboard from running altogether. But we shall see. Hopefully it's going to start up and it'll run absolutely perfect. Right guys, this is the moment of truth. Fingers crossed that I've corrected all the faults that I did during the service. I've connected a tiny tack so that once the outboard is warm, I can set the idle RPM. That's obviously if it runs and stays running. So wish me luck. Okay, fuel primed, choke out, throttle backed off, and oh I'm so happy with that. That started first time, first pull, no problem at all. We have a good P stream. Okay, the outboard's been running now for approximately 10 minutes. The idle speed is quite good. I've backed the throttle off. The idle speed's at 930. I'm just going to take it up just a little bit to 950, 960. Right, that's now running at 960 RPM, which is just gone up to between 960 and 1000. It's running. 960 seems good to me. I did back off the mixture screw another half a turn, so that means that it's now 4 full turns from the bottom of the idle mixture screw. The outboard's now running pretty well. I am more than happy with it now. I did make a few mistakes, and hopefully I'll never make them again, and hopefully you won't make them in the first place. So this is the end of the video. I hope you found it useful. I certainly have. I now have a fully serviced, fully functioning 9.8 two-stroke Tohatsu. I've made a couple of mistakes along the way, certainly with the impeller housing and with the carburetor. I either didn't fully clean the carburetor, or I didn't fully tighten it up, allowing air to enter the cylinder head after the carburetor. So I've made two mistakes. Hopefully you will learn by those, and I hope that this video has encouraged you to service your outboard, because it is a relatively easy job to do. Please leave comments and subscribe to the channel if you like them.